The first thing I thought this morning was, how the hell did I let this guy convince me to come over at 7 in the morning? God, man.
It's because I sold you.
So, do you always wake up this early?
Always.
Like 5? What's the wake up? What's the alarm clock?
5:35
Every day.
every day.
Do you train?
I used to. I got to get back at it. But 5:35, wake up in the morning, do my schedule, review my day. Look at what's important. Top 3 things that I got to look at. It's going to help me advance my professional
I can't
in
do
my
it.
personal life.
What time do the kids wake up?
They wake up around 6:30. You got to wake up before your kids, dude. You got to wake up before your kids. You got to plan your day before. You can't let your kids beat you.
Yeah. My kids wake me up.
No. Are you recording this?
Yeah, we're live.
You serious?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're live. We're live. We're recording. Yeah, no, man. I can't. We're all a bunch of sleepyheads here. Every single person in this house.
Really?
Ridiculous.
You got to wake up. You got to wake up early. You got to beat the sun. You got to start the day with a victory. That's how I look at it. You got to start the day with a win. And the first thing you got to do is beat the sun. That's my philosophy.
This is Grant Cardone right there.
Grant Cardone at its best.
No, I can't. I don't mind waking up early. I just have a lot of hard time.
Really?
You know what the problem is? I used to wake up in the morning to train, and I gave that up too. I just can't find the discipline. I can't. And I can't train at night either. Because, at night, you just want to get your shit together, spend some time with the kids and everything.
For sure.
No, waking up in the morning, man, I just can't. And we're very lucky because, well, my daughters are still obviously not in school yet. The old one is in daycare 3 days a week. We don't have to work in the morning. Most of our work takes place in the evenings at night. So during the day, we're going to do a little bit of business development, make some calls, prepare some contracts, that kind of stuff. So we don't have that urgency to put the alarm on at 8 in the morning or whatever, 6, 5, whatever time you wake up and get the kids ready. Eventually, we're going to have to. They're going to go to school.
Yeah.
You're going to have to wake up in the morning, prepare them. But for now, I'm enjoying my bed so much. It's incredible.
Really? Look, I think it's also you got to be able to do it enough that it turns into a habit. I think that even if you didn't get used to it, eventually, if you do it long enough, you will. So I think you haven't woken up early enough.
There were times where I used to wake up really early for work. But the minute, like you said, the minute you get out of that zone, out of that comfort zone,
right,
it's gone, man. Like it's gone.
Well, it's a habit. You could always get back into it though, so
God,
that's the good thing.
Man. Like it was really hard this morning. Oh my God!
But you did it. You're here.
Yeah, of course.
So
you're
good.
Here. You're here, and thank you for coming.
My pleasure.
We go back a long time, man. And it's funny because I was thinking about it last night. I'm like, okay, let's just put some things down, things that we can talk about. And I was thinking, fuck, I know this guy for a long time.
By the way, I want to interrupt you for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
You got to let me know when it's halfway through this podcast because I got to go back in the car and change shirt. I'm just letting you know. I'm just going to give you a heads up.
You didn't bring a bag.
That's right. Actually, I did. I brought my backpack, so I'm good.
Inside story. We might get to that. To that.
Good times.
Because I was thinking, I'm like, okay, what the hell am I going to talk about? And then I'm like, fuck, I know this guy for a long time. And then when you think that long time is only university, because I only met you at university.
That's right.
Concordia. And when you reach that point in your life where a long time ago is university, you also realize, shit, we're getting old.
That's true. Time flies.
When university is a long time ago, like I compare you, for example, to Chris, our friend Chris, that I know, since kindergarten. Like that's a long time. But imagine.
Yeah, that's forever.
It's a very long time. So when you're thinking, university, man, it's been a long time. I'm like, what? How can that be a long time?
20 years, man.
Jeez.
Is it? Almost.
I don't know.
20 years, yeah. 20, yeah, almost. We're there.
Yeah,
19, 20.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's a long time.
I remember the time that we actually met in university because I started university. I didn't start normally, and I think you're a year older, so I didn't start at the regular session like in September or August, whatever it is. So I skipped one session. I came in during the winter session. So nothing ever happens during the winter session. So I did one session, and then the following session, Chris came from CGIP. He came in as an independent student because he did so well.
Independent student. I like that.
Yeah, because he did so well in CGIP.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Chris is a smart guy, man.
He's a very smart guy, and it's proof that you don't really need CGIP.
Yeah. That's a whole topic by itself.
And I remember, so I was hanging naturally with Chris, and he's like, "What are you doing?" I think it was a Friday or whatever it was. And he's like, "We're gonna go bar hopping." And I'm like, "Okay, whatever." He goes, "Yeah, with this guy Pano." I'm like, "Who's that?" He goes, "Oh, this guy we used to go to CGIP together. Fun kid. You know, you're gonna get to meet him. He's a lot of fun." I'm like, "Okay." So the first impression that I had of you, just a fun to be with guy. A natural leader, always mobilizing large groups of people to just do good things, right? And when I mean good things, I'm not talking about you being a student activist, doing noteworthy things. I'm talking about mobilizing people to, not go to class and stay in the bar and get drunk, for example.
Not necessarily good things, yeah.
So I don't remember much of that day, honestly. The only thing I remember is walking down Maisonneuve. Everybody's smashed. You show up with like this group of 15, 20 people. I don't even know what that was. I don't know if you were part of some association. I really have no idea. All I remember that you showed up with like 15, 20 people. Everybody's ready to get drunk. We're bar hopping. And then at some point, we're walking down Maisonneuve. So I'm in the front with you, Chris. And for some reason, everyone starts singing the Greek national anthem. So I turn over and I see this big kid, Telly.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember this.
I remember this, dude.
And that was the first time I met that guy also. So for some reason, this guy decides to turn around and walk backwards because he needed to face the crowd like a choir conductor.
Yeah.
And he's waving his hands, chanting the Greek national anthem, and then at some point he just disappears.
I remember that.
I turn around, I was like, "Where's this guy?" There were these huge flower pots that the city had to put. I don't even know what they wanted to put in there, but they were huge, like easily about 1.5 meters diameter. The kid was just swallowed up. You could just see his feet sticking out. The guy fell right into the pot with like earth and a bunch of other garbage that people had thrown in there. I was dying. My stomach was hurting. Like he needed 4 people to pull him out. And that was the beginning. That was my first ever memory of Pano, and then the rest is history. We had some good times.
We did.
You mentioned the shirt incident. We had invited you once to play with us.
Yeah.
We had a band, for those who don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, good times. Sex, drugs, and Greek ballads.
Yeah, that was at Reggie's, right?
Reggie's.
Was that Reggie's?
Reggie's was a good bar. That was a good show, man. We had some good times, honestly.
You know what? I think we were just, I think university for me was, I loved my university experience, and not for the education per se, because if I think back on what I learned in university, did it really help me in what I do today? No, except for the fact on, maybe being a little bit disciplined to a certain extent when it came to, handing in papers and stuff like that. Yeah. But also what university taught me was exactly what you said. It was building relationships, creating friendships that till today I use in my business, and I use in a good sense, right? Not use people, but I mean, that's basically what university taught me. But if you look at going back academically, or who the hell uses calculus? Like, there were some stupid classes that were like really useless.
No, for sure, man. Look, the thing about university is that I've met only a few people that actually went into university knowing what they wanted to do, which begs the whole question, like you said, about our whole education system. There's something wrong when you enter university and you still don't know what you're doing, right? And it's the case for many kids. I don't know if you went in a program that you wanted. I didn't. I ended up studying politics because it was it was my second choice. I don't even remember the first thing that I applied for. I honestly don't even remember. And I just stuck around because I found it interesting. And it's funny because I remember while studying political science that I was telling myself there's no way I'm going to ever find a job. I got lucky and I did. But like you said, mostly university was were the hangouts, the fun times. We had a lot of good times with the band. Just you know, I don't know. It's also the age too. I mean, you're completely and fully independent. You're working. You're making money by that
Yeah.
point. I enjoyed it too. I really did enjoy it. But going back to your shirt, I was actually going to ask you this morning when you walked in. It's funny that you mentioned it. I was going to ask, did you bring a bag with a change of shirt? Pano, for those interested, Pano, we had called him in to play buzuki for us. This is a university bar where we're playing in.
With like cheap beer, cheap alcohol, and
Pano thinks he's the highlight of the night. He walks in with a grocery. I remember it was a grocery bag.
Yeah,
and you had.
No, actually, it wasn't a grocery bag. No, it was actually a.
I remember you walking with a white little bag.
No, it was like a suit thingy that you actually put the suit inside. So I had one shirt and I didn't want to wrinkle it, right? So
there were 3 shirts.
Correct.
So we're setting up, and Pano
for the introduction, the main.
I just don't understand.
And the clothes.
Yeah, we're like, dude, what do you think? You're gonna walk off stage and change? Like, we're taking one break and that's it. What are you doing with 3 extra shirts? He goes, I don't know. I thought maybe I can change and stuff. Just funny.
It was good times.
It was. Tell me a little bit about you, because there's a lot of interesting things happening. As far back as I can remember, I got to know you were a DJ. And then soon after that, you got into the car business. You were in sales. And for a pretty long time, you were a sales director of a very large luxury vehicle brand. Can we name it? We can name it.
Sure. Absolutely.
Audi. Not sponsored.
Audi Prestige. A shout out to all my boys at Audi Prestige.
And I remember, you were there for a long time.
Yeah.
How long were you there?
I was there actually for 10 years. I started in 2008. I was 28 years old. And I was there for 10 years. I started off as a sales manager right off the bat. But before that, I was at a Volkswagen dealership for 3 years. And that's an interesting story because many people that meet me usually say, well, Panos, you're a great salesperson. You're a born salesperson. And the truth was I wasn't a good salesperson. Yeah. That's the truth. So I was DJing and I actually got recruited into the car business by a guy that I was doing his wedding. So I was DJing and he came up to me during the night and he said, listen, buddy, you should really, really look into the car business. And at the time I was in university, right, doing my BCom. And he's like, you should come into the car business. And at that time, my goal in life was to make $100,000. Yeah. I thought by making $100,000, I'm going to be rich. I thought that was it, right? That was it, yeah. So, and I quickly realized that even if I come out with a bachelor's of commerce in university, there's not many jobs that will pay me $100,000, right? $100,000 is like 1% of the population that makes that, right? So, he came up to me and he said, yeah, I want you to come to the car business. And I'm like, while I'm DJing, I turn around. I remember this like yesterday. And you turn around and I go, are you crazy, dude? I'm in university. You think I'm going to become a car salesman? What the hell's wrong with you? And he told me the magic word. He said, you know what? It's too bad you think that way because there's people in the car business that make over $100,000. And he leaves. Mm-hmm. He was leaving on his honeymoon a week after his wedding, right? Monday, I show up at his dealership. And I'm like, he's like, hey, kid, what are you doing here? I'm like, dude, you told me I could make $100,000. I go, yeah. I go, where do I sign up? I'm in. So I started off and the truth is I was pretty bad. Yeah. I really, really sucked. I wasn't that good. And I was good with people, but I wasn't good in sales. Yeah. So a lot of people that say, well, I'm not a natural born salesperson. The good news, guys, is that you could learn sales. Yeah. And I really, really believe that. So yeah, I was going to quit. And 6 months in, I walked into my sales manager's office to quit. He wasn't there. He was a little late. And I was looking at the board and I couldn't understand why the guy, Billy, who recruited me, was at 15 cars and I was at 2 cars. Yeah. And I told myself, I said, I don't understand. I'm better looking. I finished university. So I got my education. Why is Billy better than me? Yes. And I didn't quit that day. I actually walked out of my sales manager's office and I said, you know what, I'm going to figure this sales thing out. And I started just studying, reading, observing, mimicking Billy. Since Billy was so good at it, I said,
Yeah.
you know what, if he's good, well, let me do exactly what he does.
Yeah.
And long and behold, 3 years later, I was the top guy there. And then I ended up getting recruited at the Gabriel Group, and right away as a sales manager. And that's it. Had much success there, much fun, loved it. Great time. I mean, great employer. Only the best things to say.
Yeah. Here's the thing, man, because obviously you're very present on social media. And I remember the time where you announced that that's it, it was done, 180 degree, you left the car business. I don't think there was one friend on your Facebook list that wasn't shocked by it, because that's who you were, right? It was Panos, the Audi sales manager. I mean, you were stamped, right?
Right.
And you pulled this surprise on everyone and you just abandoned ship and 180 degree, and you went to something completely different. Like you're in the food retail now, food retail industry. What was that decision about? I mean, how does that even? Because you joined your brothers basically. They had
Correct.
they had. First of all, how did your brothers get into that? Is this a family thing?
Well,
Was
yeah.
your family
My
in a?
my dad had a store in the South Shore,
Okay.
and for years. So that was his thing. My dad was a naval engineer, and then because he used to travel a lot, he ended up saying, I'm done with it. So he opened a retail, basically a fruit and vegetable store in the
Yeah.
South Shore. And it was quite successful for a very, very, very long time. And my brothers coming out of, one of my brothers dropped out of school and just decided to do that full time. Actually, was a mechanic.
Yeah.
And then decided to do that full time. And then my other brother, my youngest, studied in marketing, and right out of school, just went straight there. And that's it. I was the only son that was away from the family business.
Okay. I didn't know that. I didn't know that your family.
But as a
was-
young kid, I would always go there, and I grew up in it. The deciding factor for me was, number one, there's something that I really, really, really cannot stand, and I'm for me, it's like just thinking about it gives me the shivers, and that's boredom, and that's comfort. I
Yeah,
hate comfort.
yeah.
I hate it. I
Yeah.
hate it. I hate it. I hate being comfortable. And after 10 years, you get really, really comfortable in your job.
Mhm.
So, and I wanted a new challenge. The other thing is I wanted to do something for myself. And, with all due respect to the Gabriel Group and everything, I was working all these years to make somebody else rich.
Yeah.
And that's the truth. And there's nothing wrong with it. They,
Yeah.
they were taking care of me, and I was treated amazing. And it was time for me to do something for myself.
Yeah.
And that was the 180 degree that and whether you sell fruits and vegetables, whether you sell extra virgin olive oil, whether you sell the naughty, I mean, at the end of the day, you're selling something.
Yeah.
So
See, I didn't know that your family was already in the business, and for me, it was like, obviously, I follow your brothers. I knew that they were involved. I didn't know how they had started that. I knew that they had already opened a store, and then the fact that you were joining, the only thing that made sense to me was, okay, he's just joining his brothers. Good for him.
Yeah.
I had no idea there were all these connecting factors, and I thought, wow, obviously, I mean, I don't think there was any doubt in my mind that you were going to succeed, because it's just the kind of guy that you are. But I found it interesting. I mean, I found it interesting how you just leave behind, like you said, a great job. You were treated well. Obviously, an amazing salary. You just took the big risk, and
yeah, I mean, and it wasn't easy. It was definitely not easy. I mean, it's sometimes in life you got to take a step back in order to make two steps forward. So it wasn't easy. For sure, there was a salary cut. You're working by yourself. You're taking bigger risks.
Yeah.
I'm married. I have 3 kids. Sometimes the risks are not easy. My wife thought I was insane, but I had her full support. And
what kind of impact did that have on the family?
it did, but you know what? I'm blessed in a way that I have a wife that's totally understanding and totally trusts in me, in a sense that when I came home and I said, "Listen, babe, this is what it's got to be."
Mhm.
I saw in her eyes like, "Oh shit, But then she turned around. She said, "You know what? I respect that, and I know no matter what you do, you'll make it happen, and I'll take care. I'll take care of the castle. Just go out and hunt, right? So I was lucky and blessed in that way. And the first year was really tough, man. It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy because my brothers had one store. So within a year and a half, we opened the second store. And
was that part of their plan, or
no,
that was something that you brought?
Well, it was something that they knew they had to do, but they wouldn't have done if I hadn't come on board. Because opening a grocery store, opening a store, and so I don't know if there's anybody out there that's working in a grocery store. Like, you guys understand, there's a lot of stuff going on in a grocery store, and there's a lot of items in a store. Opening a store is big investments, big money, and you got to be prepared. You got to be prepared, and especially perishable, right? Because you're buying a food today, 4 days later, it's not good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the shelf life is like really, really, really short, right? So you got to make sure you know what you're doing. And you got to make sure that when you open that store, there's people that are walking in, because if there's not, dude, it hurts.
Yeah.
So we ended up opening a second store. Then we opened up a division called Chamb Mobile, which is basically we deliver corporate baskets to businesses, which that was a crazy idea. And I'll share that with you. That was nuts. Yeah. And then we also have our wholesale division where we import products from Greece, and basically I handle the sales and the distribution of a product, an extra virgin olive oil, and other products that they have called Molon Lave. Mm-hmm. But the Chamb Mobile is an interesting story.
Tell me about it. I had it actually on my list. I want to talk to you about it because it's interesting. I don't think I've seen anyone do it. At the beginning, when I saw you doing, I'm like, oh, okay, it's a delivery service,
right?
But then I realized that it isn't a delivery service.
So basically, what it was is I'm sitting in the office with my brother. So now you have to picture this, right? So we're in a room. Just like, imagine this room like this, but we're like three brothers in a room like this. That's our office. And it's a family business. So my mom's there and her secretary is there. So picture exactly a room like this, right? We're like, what is this? Like, I don't know, whatever, 50 square feet, whatever it is. It's literally like this, right? So we got three offices in there, my mom, whatever. It's so I'm sitting down with my brother, and my brother's like, dude, you know what? You know, when you were in the car business and I came to your service department, and you know, at the service department, they serve like coffee and like, and you know, chocolate bars and all these unhealthy things. He goes, imagine, he goes, we would be able to deliver. Imagine we could deliver fresh fruit and replace like donuts and pastries with fresh fruit.
Yeah.
So I was looking at him, I'm like, dude, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
He's like, you like it? So I stand up. He goes, where are you going? I go, I'm going to sell this. He goes, what do you mean? I go, dude, I'm going to go sell this. Like right now. He goes, now? I go, now. He goes, but hold on. We don't have a truck. We don't have a plan. We don't have this. I go, dude, forget that. I go, let me go sell. If I can't sell it, we're not going to forget the truck. Yeah. Forget the plan. If nobody's buying this, why are we going to do it? So I literally got up, George. I literally got that minute. Within an hour, I was on the road and I started knocking on dealerships' doors with the contacts that I had. Yeah. And then out of 10 dealerships, I came back with 7 accounts.
Yeah.
So I'm like, dude, let's do this. We had no baskets. We had no truck. We had no way, no driver, no nothing. So I literally started going to the market by myself, loading up the truck. I went to Pure Imports, I think it's, Pure Imports. Right. I bought a bunch of baskets. Dude, we started that company from like nothing. And like a little caravan, doing deliveries by yourself. And, you know, I had to humble myself because imagine this now. You're a big sales manager making the big salary.
Giving orders. You know,
giving orders to people. And now here you are in a little caravan going around dealership to dealership delivering food. But, and right now we've got accounts. we got accounting offices. We got lawyers' offices. We got dealerships. Yeah. We hired a bunch of people. So I got 3 trucks on the road going around delivering fruit. And it was just, get up, go, get it done.
How did you deal, or maybe it didn't have any impact on you, but just to go back on what you said, you know, like you suit and tie every day, you know, big sales job, big cars, big salaries, you're the boss, everybody looks up to you, you know, you're giving the orders. And then, like you said, you're going down to like packing baskets with fruit and delivering them like in your jeans and I don't know, your steel toe boots or whatever you're wearing. First of all, mentally, like, how do you go from one to the other and accept the fact that this is who you are now? And was there a time where people actually said, dude, you're gonna be selling
For
fruit now.
sure, 100%. But you know what? Dude, it was the same thing when I was in car sales. And don't get me wrong, there was days that I would, I would drive that little caravan and I would tell myself, what the hell did I get myself into?
Yeah.
For sure, 100%. There was days, dude, where I'm driving back and I'm like, I question my decision.
Yeah.
Dude, there was a day, and not a lot of people know this, where I stood in my car and I didn't want to go into my house because I had tears in my eyes saying that, did I make the right decision for my family?
Yeah.
And yeah, but the same thing happened to me. And then I thought back, and when I used to tell people, what did you do? Oh, I'm in sales. I'm in car sales. People used to say, oh, you're in car sales. Really? You're a car salesman?
Really? You got that?
Of course, 100%. You're un vendeur de char. I used to get, and no matter what you do, and that's what I realized is that no matter what you do, people are always going to say, well, really? That's what you're doing?
Yeah.
And I had that, I had that from family when I got into the car business. So dude, just do what makes you happy.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? If that makes you happy and you could be the best at doing that, just do it. So yeah, I mean, it was hard. It wasn't easy. And I look back at it now, and like what motivated me to do it was really, I think success is the best revenge is massive success. I know many people have said that, but it's more to that. It's not only that. It's really trying to find what you want to do and just go out and do it, dude.
Yeah. Because it's interesting because it's not like you were in the car business for a couple of years and then you're like, oh, this is not for me, let me change. I mean, it's 10 years. You're pretty much established as that.
Sure.
Or at least in people's minds, that's what you are, right? And you're thinking that, look, it's been 10 years. What else can I do? Because, you fall into that pattern, right? You're like, look, it's been 10 years. What else?
Well, exactly.
What else would I do, right?
Well, you reach a certain, I think within that company, I reached the ceiling, no matter what it was. And as a matter of fact, when I was quitting, they actually named me to be responsible for 3 dealerships. Like and I was like, no, I can't take this job. I as a matter of fact, I gotta go. So, but it was, what else could I have done? I wouldn't have never had equity in that company.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it becomes important. If you later on want to leave something to your family while you're gone, equity is really, really important. So I gave up basically comfort to go after equity.
But it's not really comfort. I mean, it's comfort because it from your point of view, because
Correct.
you were used to that 10 years. I was seeing the stuff that you were putting, and we used to talk about this all the time. I mean, you were doing hours like from 9 to 9, like some crazy hours.
Yeah.
I mean, you're saying comfort, and I'm thinking, what's wrong with this guy? Are you kidding me now? From 9 to 9, I mean, where's your life?
Yeah.
But you see it as comfort because you got immersed into that field, into that job, and that was your reality kind of thing. So for you, yeah, it's comfort. I get it. But from someone else looking at you, of course, they realize that, it's a great job and everything. Like I said before, I was almost surprised and almost shocked. I mean, that, like, what's going on over here? I mean, that's such a good job, such a steady thing. And you're thinking, nah, man, it was too comfortable. So yeah, nobody sees that.
Well, listen, you know what? It all depends. Like some people, will work a 9 to 5 job and they're good with it. For me, being comfortable, you don't grow in comfort.
Yeah.
This is what people need to understand. You cannot grow if you're comfortable. And it's funny because I really do think this society, teaches you, I like to be comfortable. I like to be comfortable in my house. I like to be comfortable in my clothes. I like to be comfortable in my car, comfortable. But you don't grow in comfort. You don't become a better person when you're comfortable.
Yeah. So you're right, because we learn to go through stages, right? So it's like, okay, let's go to school, graduate, let's get a job, get that steady job, get that steady salary, get married, get a house, and excel kind of that way. You're doing it completely different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, I know for a fact that 99% of people out there would not do what I did.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
That's for sure. 99% of the people out there would stick with that amazing job, and just go through life with it. I wanted something bigger.
But the fact also that you didn't have to start from scratch also kind of, I imagine, would also
For sure.
kind of help you, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you woke up one day and said, I think I'm going to open a food retail store, I think I'm going to open a grocery store. I'm not so sure that decision would have been that immediate versus the fact that your brothers already had everything established. You're walking in, you're like, okay, how do we make this better?
100%.
Right?
Well, I think regardless, eventually I would have ended up leaving.
Yeah.
Did it make my decision easier to leave because of that? Yeah, for sure. I mean, I had something to fall on. But look, we started our Chamb Mobile from scratch. We started our import business from scratch, and with no experience. Like just let's do it. Let's just start it and do it.
So how's the mobile the Chamb Mobile working out? I mean, is it evolving? Are you at a point where it's pretty much stable now? I mean, I'm sure there's certain challenges there. I mean,
100%. Well, the biggest challenge on that is actually I'm dependent on my drivers.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a business where, your driver doesn't show up, you got to figure out a solution. But I think if you hire the right people, and we have an amazing team, but yeah, you're limited to a certain extent. You're not going to start delivering fruit to Vancouver, right, or to Toronto, right? But for here, yeah, it's stable. We're at a point where yes, we're looking for new accounts, but not as much, right? So. Right now, what I'm really focusing on is our extra virgin olive oil. Like that's my main focus right now. Like that's where we're pushing hard. So I've managed to let go a little bit of one business and not be as active into that one, and then moving into the olive oil to build that.
So how does this work now? You go to Greece, because I remember you had your own olive oil.
Correct.
It was your own brand. Do you still have that, or?
Well, it was a private label. That private label was done before when. So this is another interesting story. So when I went into to business with my brothers 2 years ago, my brothers had a private label which was called Palmos, which is my last name. So it was a Cretan olive oil. Good olive oil for what it is. And my brother and I, like 2 months when I started, he's like, okay, you're coming with me to Greece. I'm like, okay. He's like, yeah, there's a Greek, it's called the Greek Food Expo. It's a food show. And I want you to come because you're a marketing guy. You like marketing and good labels. And I go, you're going to help me out. And we're going to see if we could bring any products in for our store. Not wholesaling, not distributing, just for our store. I'm like, okay, cool. So we ended up going to Greece. So in the plane, I'm sitting down with my brother, and my brother tells me, listen, I'm telling you right now, you're going to see a lot of products there.
Don't get excited.
And I tend to get excited easily. So he tells me, I'm letting you know, 50% of the stuff that you're going to see there is extra virgin olive oil. Everybody's selling olive oil. Greece is the mecca of olive oil. You're going to see olive oil. I'm telling you now, let's not waste time with that. No olive oil. I'm like, okay, bro, don't worry about it. No olive oil. I get it. That's cool. No worries. So we're at the Food Expo and we're walking around, and I have this thing about obviously Greek history, but I have this thing about Greek helmets, like Greek warrior helmets. Okay. I'm just obsessed about them. So from far, as we're walking in the store, I see this Spartan helmet and I see Molon Lave. And I'm looking at this, and in a marketing standpoint, I'm like, wow, that's powerful. So I nudge my brother. I'm like, dude, look at that from far, but you can't really see what the stand is, right? So he's like, yeah, dude, Molon Lave, wow, that's pretty powerful. He goes, I just hope it's not extra virgin olive oil. I go, no, man, I don't think it is. He goes, dude, it better not be extra virgin olive oil. So as soon as we pull up to the booth, it's extra virgin olive oil. Like only extra virgin olive oil. So we ended up meeting the people at Molon Lave. We started, we had a quick conversation and we clicked right away. Like the sales manager of Molon Lave and I really we clicked. And then he's like, guys, I could sit here and tell you how good my olive oil is. I want you guys to come see. I want you guys to come to Sparta. I want you guys to see what we're all about. He started explaining to me about integrated management system. We're the only company in Greece that does that. So basically we are the olive tree. We are the press. We are the bottling. Because most of the olive oils out there are just a bottling company. So I'm like, and dude, I had no idea about olive oil. Like no idea. I was like clueless. So he's like, so what are you guys doing tomorrow? So we're at the show now in Athens. So he's like, what are you guys doing tomorrow? So I look at my brother. I'm like, dude, you want to go to Sparta? He's like, he's like, oh man, extra virgin olive oil, dude. What are you doing? So anyway, long story short, we ended up going to Sparta. We ended up seeing the whole company,
Yeah, the facility. And
the
everything.
facility. We were wowed. I started to get an understanding of what was going on with olive oil, which is a whole other conversation by
Yeah.
itself. And we just absolutely fell in love with the company. The product itself is a great product. And so I look at my brother. I'm like, dude, what are we doing? We got to bring this back. Like, you know, we got to do this. And my brother's, so I'm the excited one. My brother's like
The calm one.
the calm one. Okay, we're like two
This
complete.
is John.
This is John. That's my youngest. And I love you, bro. So yeah, and that's what makes a great team, right?
Yeah.
So we're completely different. And so John is always the guy who's going to tell me the cons, and I'm always looking at the pros, and then we end up making a decision. And I said, you know what? Let's try. Let's bring 4 pallets in, 5 pallets in. So I ended up bringing 5 pallets of only one SKU, which was the extra virgin organic bio,
Yeah.
the most expensive. And I said, if I could sell the most expensive extra virgin olive oil in Montreal, which is a very, very hard market,
Yeah.
extra virgin olive oil is a hard market, I might be onto something.
Yeah.
So yeah. So the first year we ended up doing 20 tons. And then that got the attention of the people in Greece. They ended up coming here, and we launched some other SKUs, and we're coming out with an olive, which is an engraved olive, which doesn't exist here in Canada. And we're coming
Engraved olive.
Yeah, so basically what it is, in Greek it's called a charakti. So basically it's an olive that has an incision that swims in extra virgin olive oil, red vinegar, and salt.
Okay.
Has 100% natural, no preservatives. And we're launching that in January. So yeah, we're excited. So, and then I just did what I do best. I went out, knocked on doors, and delivered case by case. And we're in about 50 stores right now. Yesterday I was in Ottawa. We opened up Ottawa. And yeah, we're going to be opening Toronto pretty soon. So
Nice.
yeah. And we have exclusive rights. So yeah, we're actively looking for distributors in the US. And yeah, it's fun.
It's a huge market. At some point, I got interested in that. It didn't work out. I mean, there were other things happening at the same time there, but I had looked into it, and you're right. It is absolutely tough, and there's a lot of stuff out there. I
think, you know what? You know why, George? And I'll tell you why. This is what I did in the car business, and this is what I'm doing well, I'm going to attempt to do it, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to achieve, because I see what's going on out there. Everybody has the same plan when it comes to food.
Mm-hmm.
And especially in extra virgin olive oil. So what's the plan? What do you sell? Everybody's selling price. So everybody's marketing strategy is I gotta bring extra virgin olive oil from anywhere, or any product for that matter, and I gotta be the cheapest.
Yeah.
I decided to do the opposite. I decided to say, no, I'm not gonna be the cheapest. I'm gonna give people a premium product. I'm gonna be slightly more expensive, but I'm gonna give people value, and I'm gonna educate people.
Mm-hmm.
Because I noticed that in the food industry, and especially in extra virgin olive oil, there is a lack of education. And I think in today's modern world, with social media available, the person who will educate is going to be the person who's going to win.
Yeah.
And that's what I did in the car business with Audi, educating people on what made Quattro different than the X-Drive, than the Formatic, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want to do in the olive oil business. Because there's a lot of lack of education, and people don't know what they're buying. And there's a lot of people out there that are selling things that shouldn't be selling.
You know, there's a lot of press out there, especially recently. I've been following about specifically olive oil, on how that whole industry is. I don't want to say corrupt. It's just
no.
You just don't know what's in the product, right? They're just mixing different sorts of things. They're mixing, olive oil with.
100%. And the problem, it's becoming chemistry now. So they're mixing crop years, they're mixing where the olives come from. So one of the biggest things is you're going to see, and I'm not going to sit here and bash the Italian olive oil, which I shouldn't. No, I won't. But you'll read, for example. So I'll give an example: packaged in Italy, and they put an Italian name. Or it could be whatever, a Spanish name, and it's packaged in Spain. But the olives could be from Turkey, could be from Morocco, could be from Tunisia, could be from Greece.
Yeah.
So they mix where the olives come from. They also, the big one is they mixed crop years.
Mm-hmm.
So an olive is a fruit.
Mm-hmm.
Would you drink a 2015 orange juice?
Yeah, no.
Well, that's what happens in extra virgin olive oil. So they mix crop years with where the olives are come from, and then what they do is they filter it, right? But then once you filter, it's no longer extra virgin because it doesn't fall in the parameters of extra virgin. So then there's additives that are put in there in order to bring it back to extra virgin, and then that's how they bottle it.
Yeah.
So my quick tip, guys, on extra virgin olive oil: look for unfiltered, look for a 1 crop year, cold press. Most of them out there are cold press because if you're pressing under 27 degrees Celsius, that's considered cold press. But 1 crop year, unfiltered, make sure that the olives come from the same area. So look for a PGI or a PDO.
Yeah.
And
let's go back to the second store. How does that decision come about? I mean, you have one store. You mentioned before how difficult it is and how many things you have to take into consideration. You're dealing obviously with food, which has a very short shelf life. Tell me the decision about just, opening up another store. I mean, how does that come about?
Just open a store? So what was the decision? Like, I'm sitting down with my brothers, guys, let's open another store?
That's it? That's how, it's as easy as that?
Well, look, you know what? It was time. It was time for my brothers. I think my brothers, by the way.
How long have they had it?
They've had it for 7 years.
Yeah.
So they had it for 7 years. Extremely successful store in Saint Eustache. They did a good job. They basically took my dad's business model and brought it to the next level. Where my brothers, I wouldn't say lack, but it wasn't their specialty. And this is where I came in was okay, now we have a store. Let's start writing down processes. Let's start organizing ourselves. Because eventually, if you want to be bought out, people don't buy out, le potager. They buy out a process, right? So I made them understand that let's build a business where we become, how should I say, we could market ourselves and be bought out eventually, right?
Is that the plan, or?
Listen, if it does, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I think if and it wasn't only for that reason. It was only we wanted to be organized. We wanted to make sure that we brought the business to the next level. Basically, what I had done at Audi, bring it over to the potager, and so that's what we did. And I think there was a demand. The market demanded a second one. You would see it just in people's comments. Guys, when are you opening the second one? I'm traveling from far. I'm coming from here. I'm coming from there. So it was a no-brainer. It had to be done, and it was done. I've opened many stores before, so my experience coming into the business was okay. I've opened stores before. This is what needs to be done. Tuck, 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 tuck. And you know what? We opened Potager Blainville, and it was. It's
funny that you mentioned that because my wife the other day, she was like, she was asking, okay, well, when's the podcast with Panoss? God, man, ask him when they're opening one in Boston. Okay.
Yeah,
because you follow the prices, and it's just ridiculous how low the prices are.
Yeah,
and it was a question I was going to ask you, like, how do you make ends meet when you're so much lower than your competition?
Well, look, I don't blame my competition for being more expensive than we are, and there's a reason. There's a logic behind it. There's two things behind it. So a lot of people say, well, you're smaller than an IGA or a Metro or whatever store that is. How do you manage to be cheaper? Well, look, at the end of the day, these stores do have a warehouse. We don't. So we go directly to market, right? So we go to Central Market, and our fruits and vegetables come directly. So there's no hand in between. That hand in between takes a certain profit.
Of course.
So, and quality-wise, well, those fruits and vegetables end up staying longer in their warehouse. Well, they lose a day or 2 or even 3 days in a warehouse, and then they get put on shelf, right? So quality-wise is not a problem, but
you have an advantage because your produce is obviously longer on shelves in the store. Correct. Rather than staying in the warehouse, and therefore fresher. Do you feel that because you're more regional? I mean, you're in Blainville, and then you're in Saint Eustache. There's a better attachment with the people, with the locals, instead of going to like this huge chain, IGA or Metro or whatever the hell it is. They feel that, look, these guys, it's a smaller name, family ran operation. There's like this family feel to it.
I think so.
Like a community.
I think so that we're very, very big with the local community. Like wherever we go, we love to be part of the community. So we're not retailers that just just come to us. We like to give.
Mhm.
So we give back to the community a lot. But also I think people are going back to and you're going to tell me, really, are you serious saying this? But I really think that history repeats itself, and people are going back. People are tired of doing aisles, man. People are tired of walking into big stores, and especially when it comes to food. So what do I mean by that? I think people are coming back to, if you want to buy your meat, go to a butcher that
Yeah.
specializes in just meat.
Yeah, you think that trend is coming back?
I think so. I believe so. I really do. I really do. I really think people now, they want to walk into a store, pick up what they need to pick up, and go out.
Mhm.
They don't want to sit there and do every single. Like, I remember as a kid going shopping, grocery shopping with my parents. It was like a whole day
Every
thing.
aisle up,
Every
down,
aisle, and then we,
up.
and it would be like 2 hours, and then we would go eat, and it was a whole day thing. People don't want to do that anymore. They want to come in. I want to buy my fruits. I'm going to come buy my fruits here. I'm going to come buy whatever my cold cuts, in and out. 10-minute, 15-minute thing, boom. And then if I need to go buy something else, I'll go buy something else.
Yeah.
I think people are tired of the aisles, man. I really, really think that.
Tell me about how you feel about all this online growth, especially in the food industry. You have Amazon, who's obviously the
Yeah.
biggest online seller, I guess, whatever you want to call it.
Mhm.
Not too long ago, they buy Whole Foods. Obviously, there's a clear indicator that they're moving into the industry. People are buying more and more online. They're opening a distribution center in Montreal.
Yeah.
So they can distribute, obviously, Quebec and Eastern Canada. And then I heard on the news a couple of days ago that there were rumors that they were looking into buying IGA and Metro. So clearly they're moving into that industry. Is that worrying for you? Are people still willing to get up and go to the grocery? Like, the retail business obviously has taken a big hit with
Yeah.
with a presence of online sales, and now the food industry has kind of taken that turn. And I was actually looking at statistics the other day for Canada. It's not that present over here. There's this is for 2019. There's only 15% of consumers that buy online, but over 50%. So 53% say that at some point in the future they would want to explore that.
Yeah.
Do you think that it's something to worry about? I mean, do you think that you're going to be affected by it? I mean, what do you think the future holds?
Listen, I think, and it's a great point, and a lot of people ask me that, and perishables is you need to understand, you're dealing with perishables. So if you want to be able to give people the best quality and be very competitive in price on a good that has a shelf life of, I don't know, 5 days, it's tough, man. It's not easy. Like, I mean, if you start having warehousing and you keep, your fruits and vegetables there, is it gonna eventually come to it? Yes. Are we eventually possibly gonna do not possibly, are we gonna do online? For sure. But I think in retail, that's probably gonna be the last thing that's gonna be touched.
Because of the
100%.
Because of the shelf life.
100%.
Like, it's not clothing or shoes or socks or whatever that you can store for
100%.
forever.
If not, you're going to be selling your bananas instead of selling it at 69 cents a pound, you're going to be selling it at $1.69 or whatever, or $3 a pound. Because don't forget, you got to be paying for transport, you got to pay for shipping, warehousing, people going around picking, so it's, is there people out there that are going to want to do convenience? 100%. I come home and it's delivered to my house and it gets done. I think it's going to be the last thing that's going to go online. That's what I believe.
Are you thinking already on how to build platforms to do it yourself?
We looked at it with our brothers.
Yeah.
Right now we're more in a expand our brick and mortar.
Yeah.
I've attempted to look at it, and I'll be honest with you, George. It's really, really not that easy. I have friends in our industry that are currently doing it, and it's really, really tough. It's really, really hard.
Why?
The logistics are really, really hard. You're late for I don't know, for whatever reason, the weather doesn't permit. They hammer you on online reviews. The customers are not forgiving. Because you know how we are now. It's like, now I want my stuff now. Instant. So it's not easy, man. It's not easy. We and I experience it a little bit with the corporate basket, right? So imagine now having 300 orders to deliver in a day. So it's not easy.
Yeah, it's a whole other set of logistics, man. You're right.
So but eventually is it going to turn to that? For sure. I mean, there's another concept I know in Europe where you literally pull up your car. It's like a drive-through. You pull up your car, there's a computer, you pick exactly what you want on the computer, and then you drive to the next window, and then all your stuff is
But that exists over here too. There are some grocery stores that have a mobile pickup, so you order online,
right,
or on an app or whatever, and then you park and someone brings it out.
But that's more like you really pull up to the window, like a McDonald's. I order my coffee and I order whatever I want, and then it's the next window drops all your stuff in your trunk, and then you take off.
Like, I mean, just the cost of running that thing, and you're right. I mean, that's just gonna eventually just boost the prices up.
100%. And look, I mean, things are getting more expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember when, dude, I was working at my dad's grocery store. I mean, a lettuce was like a quarter, dude. 50 cents, 49 cents. You used to go on special 25 cents. Iceberg lettuce, and then now it's like $2.99.
Yeah.
So,
and that's cheap.
It is cheap.
Like, oh, look, the lettuce is cheap. $3,
Dude, we were selling celeries at the price of a steak, dude. It was crazy.
Yeah.
So
tell me a little bit about, there's all this environment conscious movement happening. You're in an industry that uses a lot of plastic. Is there any concerns about, this growing demand on more sustainable practices, especially in not generally the retail industry, but specifically the food retail industry?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we do our best. Like there's a lot of plastic in the food industry, a lot, and we're doing our best as a business to really, really eliminate as much plastic as we can. But there's some things you can't. I mean, we did have styrofoam cups that we used to use in order to do our packaging. For example, our chop suey or we used to package our zucchinis inside, and there's a reason why. It's not because we want to force people to buy that quantity. It's because we want to be able to protect the product. And some of the stuff is for hygiene reasons. You don't want people picking into your food.
Exactly.
So we package it. So we moved into a more how should you call it, compostable? What do you say that in English?
I have no idea. That's what I usually use the French word.
Compostable?
Yeah.
All right, compostable. I'm going to sound exotic. Compostable. So we use a compostable packaging now, which really, really helps. But you see it. People walk in, and there's some people that are really, really. But sometimes you have no choice. So you like, we charge for plastic bags now. Before we didn't. So now we charge for plastic bags.
But you still have them.
I still have them.
Yeah, there's stores that don't have them at all.
We have it for convenience reasons, but I'll be honest with you, not many people are pretty good, man. People
really?
People come in with their bags. I mean, where we're out, where we are at, like, I mean, people respect that, and they come in and they forget.
Do you know how many bags I have? Like, those whatever they're made from. I have a closet full of them. Every time we go grocery shopping, we just don't bring them.
Yeah,
we'll forget them. My wife's like, "Did you bring the bags?" I'm like, "No."
No, but you know what? People are like really respectful. Like, I mean, even if they don't have those tags, they'll take them in their hands, and they will not pay for a plastic bag. So that's,
give me the bag.
You pay for the bag?
Give me the bag.
Really? You want to?
I'm gonna carry it in my hands. Are you kidding me now?
Well,
But look, there's some stores that don't have bags, and that's the most annoying thing, because you got to go out with your
shopping cart,
with
and
the shopping cart,
like
and
Costco style.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, dump everything in the trunk.
Yeah,
I know.
I take a turn. The raspberries are gonna fly everywhere.
Disaster. But you know what? It's a good thing. I'm really, really for that. But you know what? There's another thing that's even as important as not having plastic is, dude, there's a lot of food that's being thrown out.
Yeah,
and we found a way to save a lot of that food not to be thrown out, and we deal with a lot of organizations that actually, when there's the food is, like the fruits and vegetables that on the shelf, they don't look too good,
but they're still good to eat. Yeah,
but they're still good to eat. So we have organizations that they come and they pick up. But that's what I tell people. I said, you know what? Okay, fine, no plastic, but what about the food waste? So is wasting food better than plastic? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, are we better off? I don't know. If you could conserve food better because you put it in a plastic container, which again will harm the environment, I agree with you, and it's not the right thing. But what's better?
Yeah.
You know, is it wasting food or having a plastic bag? You know what I mean? Like,
So you're working with local actors,
for
up
sure.
in your
Yeah,
location?
yeah. We deal with La Moisson.
Okay, yeah.
They come and they pick up, but you know what? We have a good turn, so we don't throw a lot. But in our industry, there's a lot of food that goes to waste.
All right. Any other plans of expanding outside of Laval, for example, Montreal or South Shore, to make my wife happy?
Outside of you mean North Shore?
North Shore, yeah.
I like the North Shore, man.
Yeah.
I like the North Shore. North Shore is good.
Because you live there, right? So it must
I live in
make
Laval,
it must make a big difference just to drive, what, 5-6 minutes?
dude. Against traffic, man.
Against
like
traffic.
I see what's going on oh man, on the 13 and then the 15 in the morning, dude. It's crazy. Like, is it really worth it? Like, you're gonna save $50,000 on a house, but you're gonna be stuck for life.
Yeah.
For life, like 365 days.
Yeah. It's painful.
And it takes you an hour to get to work, an hour to come back in the morning. That's 2 hours you waste of your life. Do the math. Like, what's 2 hours times 7 times 52 weeks? Like, that's insane.
The time you spend in your car.
Oh my God.
You know, this is the funny thing, because I used to work in Villeray. So before we got married, obviously I lived in Park X. It was literally a 5-minute drive.
Really?
I had to be at the office at 9. I would leave my house at 8:50, 8:55. Sometimes I was late. I would leave at 9, but it didn't matter. I was right there.
Yeah.
And then we got married. I moved we lived downtown. And I was a little bit, but still, you're moving against traffic, like you said, but it was okay. You know, it was like maybe about 15, 20-minute drive. And then we moved to the South Shore. But the lucky thing is that I didn't have to punch a card. I didn't have anyone over my shoulder. It was very flexible. I could go in whatever time I wanted. So I didn't live that stress that people have of having to rush in the morning to get to the office, right? And that's why I'm thinking about you, where your stores are in Laval. You live in Laval, in the North Shore. You live in Laval. It must have changed your life like enormously, just knowing that.
You know what? It wasn't that bad. Coming in, I worked in Ville Saint Laurent, so it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
Like, if I had to work in Brossard, dude, like Brossard, man, is like, you need a passport, dude. You really need a passport to come here. Like, it's like, am I gonna where are the customs? You know, like what's going on here? Like, it's like
You gotta clear customs with your fruits.
Jesus, dude, Brossard's far.
Yeah, no, my wife was telling me, she's like, she's looking at your online pamphlet there, or your brochure, and she's like, what are these prices? Why can't they open up in Brossard? She's like, you want to go? Well, the funny thing is, she's like, you want to go to Panoss' store? I'm like, what? I'm gonna leave the South Shore to drive to the North Shore to get whatever you had on special, and then drive all the way back to the shore. I'm like, forget it,
dude. You should come visit us.
I'm gonna come. I've been wanting to, actually, but fucking. You just said it, like, flip it the opposite side. You don't want to come to Brossard. Why the hell would I want to come all the way up there?
And the other thing is, you got to try my oil, man.
Yeah, sure.
Are you one of those Greeks that bring their own oil from there? Yeah, really? What area?
We've never.
What area?
My dad has olive trees in Morlaix.
Oh, Sparta.
Yeah, Sparta.
Nice.
I mean, I'll have you try it upstairs. I can't remember, even as a kid, buying olive oil. My father
usually, and that's why if people tell me what's your target clientele, I gotta say, guys,
it's not Greeks.
Well, listen, most of the Greeks. Well, there's two things about the Greeks when it comes to olive oil. Number one, they believe that the village that they're from
has the best
extra virgin olive oil. And I did a couple of tastings, and whenever I had Greeks. And the best are, Greeks that are, I would probably say, I don't know, 50 years old and over. Dude, it's almost like a confrontation, your olive oil, you should see my olive oil from my village.
It's
and
pride, man. It's a matter of pride.
We have that. We have so much pride as Greeks. It's crazy. No matter what we do from our village, it's the best. And then you end up tasting that olive oil, and it's like, but it doesn't matter because it comes from that village. It's the best.
It's the
best. But that's one. And dude, I forgot the second. So one is that it's like where they come from. It's the best. And every Greek knows a Greek that brings his own olive oil from a neighbor that knows a neighbor that it's like it brings it in. So
look, we never bought olives. We never bought olive oil. My dad has his trees. I have a cousin down there with her husband that take care of it. My father doesn't even take any money. Like they keep all the profit and they just send my dad enough to make the year. And then, the next year's another batch.
So to all the Greeks out there, once your olive oil finishes, if it finishes, and your little bin is late to come from Greece, whatever you call that thing that they put the olive oil in, the little
can.
tin, the tin, not the bin, the tin, the 17-liter tin is late coming from Greece. Just think of me. Just saying.
Let's close it up, man.
Let's do it.
What's next? What's next for you? Tell us a little bit about what you have planned.
What we have planned. Listen, we have planned. We're definitely going to be expanding our retail business, looking for a third location, possibly
in Brossard.
No, not Brossard, not as of yet. But you never know. And
still in the North Shore.
Yeah, probably North Shore. Expanding more in the North Shore. Mind you, we do have some projects that we're looking at into Montreal.
Okay.
But we like North Shore. Definitely expanding the extra virgin olive oil, trying to bring it more to a national level, and eventually leak into the United States. And Chamb Mobile, just keep expanding that. So yeah, we got our hands full.
Good, man. I appreciate you coming.
Pleasure.
I don't know why you made me wake up this early, but I think I'm gonna go have breakfast now.
Awesome.
2 hours later.
Well, listen, man, you have the whole day in front of you. So
yeah, I'm gonna go back to bed as soon as you walk out the door.
Come on, man.
No, I'm just joking. Thanks a lot, man.
Pleasure.